Well, hello there. Welcome to my channel. I am Claus, your friendly neighborhood YouTube Mrs. Claus. I am filming a cute little project today. We are going to make a pillow. I am filming this intro before I even started it. So let's see. We're going to do some gauging and stuff like that to see what all we're going to need for this project. Now, in full transparency, I had picked up the yarn, started to work with it, and realized I'm wearing red, and we're doing this project in red. So you couldn't see the yarn. Now I am going to stand up at times and zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. So with this pillow, I found these cute little appliques on Pinterest. They're little Christmas tree people. And I'm going to link the pattern for that in this video. So if you like them and you want to put those on your pillow like I'm going to do, you can make those. And if you need to know how to follow the pattern, I have a video on that on my channel. So to get started, I'm going to have to gauge what size needle I'm going to need for this project. I figured I'd show you this part because it's kind of important. So we are going to be making a pillow to cover this. This is a polyfill basic pillow insert. It is 12 inches by 16 inches. So don't pay attention to what I'm doing right now. I'm not doing anything because I can't rip it off myself. This insert, there it is. Had a huge tag on it. We don't want that. Anyway, so we're doing this 12 by 16 pillow. We are going to crochet a pillow covering for it. Now, whether or not we put a kind of, I think I'm going to put buttons on the side so that you can take it out of this and wash this and wash the covering if you need to. But what we're going to do is we're going to start with our red yarn. I am using the Big Twist Gentle in red. Now, this yarn has been discontinued. Full transparency. Found out yesterday at Joann, I couldn't go in and get more of it. So, what I'm going to do is give you some comparable things. Anything in a size 5 yarn width, or even worsted weight at a size 4. I'm basically using this one because I have a ton of it and I just wanted to make a project with it because it's so soft. Either way, because we're making a pillow, I'm using 2 strands of the yarn. I would definitely recommend this if you're using worsted weight. And I'm going to do a little gauge to see if I need to use the 8mm hook or the 6mm hook. I am assuming I'm probably going to need to use this one, but the only way I'm going to find out is by doing the project. So what we're going to start off with is we're going to make our slip knot. Now I did tie these two together, and you don't have to do that when you're using a slip knot, but because I am using 2 strands, I went ahead and just tied them together. So I'm going to put them on the 6mm hook. I'm going to chain enough to make it 12 inches, or no, 16 inches. So we're going to leave the 12 inch on the end. So I'm going to chain enough to make it 16 inches. And I'm going to see if that's going to be tight enough or too tight to do half double crochets. So with these chains, again, I showed you in last week's video how to do chains and what those stitches are called. I also showed half double crochets. So if you need a reminder of how to make those, we will by all means check that video. Again, I'm just gonna zoom through this and make these chains long enough so that I have a 16-inch long chain. That is not quite 16 inches yet, but we do have our trusty handy dandy measuring tape that we will use as we go along with this bad boy to make sure we have it long enough. Now we are at 13 inches, so we only need about 3 more inches on this chain. That should be about right now. Now, mind you, we are using a bulkier yarn. Nope, that's not quite long enough. We are using a bulkier yarn and a larger hook, so this project should not take very long at all to finish. All right, I will let you know how many we have here. Okay, that is a little long. All right, so we needed it 16 inches and we need a turning chain. So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to go ahead and do an even 50. So with a double strand of a size 5 yarn and a 6mm hook, we need 50 chains. That's going to be different if you use a different yarn. It's going to be different if you use a smaller hook or a larger hook. All that that's going to do is change how it comes out. It's going to change the way that it looks when you're done. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 extra chains. So make 51, 52. That way we have our 2 for our half double crochet. So we're going to loop on our hook and make a half double crochet into that 3rd chain from the hook. That is kind of tight with the 6mm hook, but I think that's what we're going to need. So we're going to go ahead and say yes, we're going to use the 6mm hook. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way across and make 50 half double crochets from one end to the next. So if you guys are interested in that, you can watch. Otherwise, I'm going to speed it up in just a moment and we'll see what that looks like when we're done. There's a knot in my yarn. There we go. For those of you that are not on my YouTube, you see how it happens in real time. Okay guys, I went ahead and did that off camera. There's my 50 double crochets. Let's see if I can get the zoom right so you can see it. Yeah, the focus is trash on this camera. All right, so what I'm going to do now is, let's zoom back out and we'll get back in our spot. What I'm going to do now is we are going to do as many rows as we need to make it long. We've got our 16 inches wide. We need it to be 24 inches long. So I will be back with however many rows that takes me to make this. So again, 50 half double crochets from one end to the next, or 49 double crochets and 2 chains at the beginning because I didn't think about the chain and turn. So you're going to count that as a double crochet if you do 50. So chain 2, turn, 49 double crochets the rest of the way. So I will see you guys when I've got 24 inches of this project done. All right guys, so what happened was I'm looking at this and I am realizing that I'm gonna need to put this away at some point, or maybe repurpose the pillow insert for a different project Let me change my camera a little bit so you guys can see me a little better. So I want to make this cover removable. So I went in my button stash and I found these cute little flowery buttons. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to space them out evenly on my pillow cover on one side so that we can remove it. I'm keeping the little, they came with little twist ties in the packaging to hold them onto the packaging. I'm going to use those to place them temporarily in case there aren't enough rows where it lines up just right. And that way we can move them if we need to later down the road. But I'm going to place them on here so I know where I need to make buttonholes. Now this isn't necessary for your project, so if you're going to make this and you want it to be a permanent pillow, you don't need to make the button places. So we are going to place these on here evenly. I've got 3 buttons and I want to put them down there, and then I'm going to, as I continue crocheting, I'm going to bring it over and make sure that I put a hole that will fit that. And I'll show you what that's going to look like in a moment, so that if you decide you want to make it a removable cover as well, then you can also do the same steps I'm doing. If you don't, you can just continue crocheting exactly like you were doing until you get the 24 inches that you need lengthwise to cover the whole pillow. I personally like the idea of being able to remove it and put a different one on there for different seasons. I have this same yarn in a purple, so I think it would be perfect for like an Easter pillow cover. So I am going to probably do that. So I put these on there and twist tied them on so they would be evenly spaced. I made sure they're attached to the same number of stitches into the pillow. What I'm going to do is, it looks like this first one is going to be down on the 4th row of the next section. So I'm going to go ahead and crochet those 4 rows, and then I will show you how we're going to make the buttonhole. I'll be back. Okay, so I got here, and what happened was I got to the 4th row and it didn't look like there was going to be enough space to fold it over and it be even. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh wow, someone's trying to join my live on TikTok. Crazy. Okay, so what had happened was I got to my 4th row and I decided that wasn't enough for it to be good when you fold it over. So I did 2 more rows and we're at row 6. So we're going to go ahead and do our chain 2 and turn for our first little double crochet. Then we're going to do, or sorry, our first half double crochet. Then we're going to go into that first one and do a half double crochet. Then we're going to chain 3. We're going to skip 3 of our half double crochets here, 1, 2, 3. We're going to go into that 4th one with a half double crochet. I'm going to go ahead and finish that one out and flip it over and see if our button will fit through it. Because I have a feeling we may have to, nope, that's perfect. Okay, so I just did 3 chains to fit that button through. So if you need to do less or more depending on the size of your button, by all means do so. Then what we're going to do is continue to finish out that row. Count how many rows you have between where your buttons are tacked on. It looks like I have 5 here and 6 here. So I'm going to crochet 5 rows between these 2 buttons. Then I'm going to do the same thing that I did here. Then 6 to the next button. I might do 5 because I think I need to move this bottom button. But, okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go. Did I just record all that without my daggum mic on? Ah! You guys! It helps if I actually have my mic on when I'm recording. So, instead of doing 4 rows, I ended up doing 6 because 4 wasn't enough to make it match up just how I wanted. So that means there's 5 on each side from the top to the button, and then another 5. So on this first row where we're going to attach our buttons, let me undo this so I can show you what I did. We did our chain 2 and turn to get on this row. Then we're going to do 1 half double crochet in the first spot where we need to put 1. Then we're going to chain 3, skip these 3 half double crochets, and then continue our row after that. Sorry about that. I did not realize I didn't have my mic on when I did that one, and I feel like I didn't have it on when I did the buttons, but I can do a voiceover if I need to. Anyway, so I know that the button's going to fit through there because I already matched it, but you crochet your chains however many you need to make your buttons fit through the hole. If you do buttons. If you don't do buttons, just continue on until you have it long enough to fit around your whole pillow. So I know that I have 5 rows between each one of these 2 buttons, these last 2 buttons. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. After I finish out this row, I'm going to do 5 rows. Oh, the math doesn't add up. The math doesn't add up. I'm going to have to do 4 rows. No. Okay. So now that I've thought about it, I will do 5 rows, but on the next one, when you get to the 5 rows for the next button, on row 5, instead of, no, on your returning row, row 6, you're going to skip the same ones that you skip here at the end of the row to make it work. Yay! That's what I get for not making it evenly spaced on an even number. But that's just for that one, and then the last row we'll do exactly like we did this one. So I will go ahead and get to that part so you can see how we're going to do that on the next one. I will return. Okay, I was mistaken. 5 in between each is perfect for your lines to row, or for your rows to line up, for your holes to be just right. So if you were waiting for that clarification, I am sorry. 5 rows was just right. So 5 and 5, perfect. So there we go, clarified. Y'all, I feel like I've been doing this forever, going between these buttons. But the problem is, I get on a good stride. I get going real good and real quick, like I'm doing right this second. And then I hit a big old jumble of knotted up, twisted up, tangled yarn. We are 3 hours into this pillow, and for some godforsaken reason, the second half of this pillow has taken me twice as long as the first half does. And it's not because of the daggum buttons. It's because the second 2 skeins that I tied on keep doing this. And I am frustrated. I could have been done with this thing an hour ago if it wasn't for all this tangling. That's what I get for not making yarn cakes out of these and just trying to go from the skein straight to the project. So I'm going to untangle all of this and try to finish this thing out. We are almost to our 3rd button. We've got 1 more row to come back, and then we can put our 3rd buttonhole in and finish it out. And once I get the buttonholes in, then and only then kind of finish out this side. Then we can move on to finishing it up and putting on the applique, everything that we need to do to finish it up. I just can't get my tangles out enough to do it. So just know that you're not the only one if you're dealing with tangles right now. I think that's the biggest problem with working with two skeins at the same time. All right, I'll be back. All right, I finished it out and I went ahead and put the buttons together so that we can make sure it matches up on the other side. So what we're going to do now is we're going to finish it off with a simple little single crochet all the way around the top and the side to finish it off. That way we have it closed up and everything is done. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. We're going to go and flip it around where they line up. We're going to take our yarn, we're going to stab it through the first row here, the first row on the next one, go through both layers of the pillow. And because that first row was where we started and we've only got the one loop from the chain, we're only going to have 3 things to pull through, single crochet. We're going to do that all the way to the end and all the way up, and I'll be back with it in just a moment. Alright, so I have finished it. Right now all I'm doing is weaving in the ends of that last bit of yarn. And the way I'm doing it, I'm leaving it to where I can, when I attach the buttons, which the buttons are just held on right now with these little twist ties. But when I sew the buttons on, what I'm thinking about doing is sewing buttons on both sides. And that way, it's a reversible pillow cover. So you can take the buttons and sew buttons on both sides, and then when you take the pillow out, you can turn it inside out and you already have holes on the other side, so you can use it for more than one holiday. So if you wanted to do an applique for Christmas like I'm doing on this one, you can, or you can, and you can put another applique for 4th of July on the inside and the pillow will still fit in. You won't have that same finished edge on it on the inside one, but I think a reversible pillow is kind of cool. But also you're not just going to have buttons on one side of the pillow. If you're sewing it on both sides of this, you're going to have buttons on both sides of the pillow. Whether I like that or not, I don't know. So I'm going to go walk my dogs. Then I'm going to put the appliques on there, and we'll see how it looks when it's finished. I'll see you guys in a little bit. And here she is. Look how cute it is. Yes, I did leave room over here to add another Christmas tree if I want to, or maybe like something cute, because maybe these two, since it's a female Christmas tree and a male Christmas tree, maybe I'll make a baby Christmas tree or something cute over here on the side. But there she is. I think it's precious. What do you think?